We can do sorghum, we can do wheat, we can do maize within those clusters. It will take $6 million to develop each cluster. These clusters will provide us with 125,000 agro rangers that work under the National Security Advisor, that will properly equipped to destroy all the ISWAP and the bandits and the criminals tormenting the North. We will pay them well. None of them, each of them will get at least nothing less than 150K every month as salary. That will be funded from proceeds from the agro parks. If they had listened to me in 2019 when we shared this, it would take $15 billion to do this. But from each cluster, we'll be able to generate nothing less than $120 billion. So we've done the numbers. We are not reinventing the wheel. These things have been done in other places. It's a model. And do you know the interesting thing? Nigeria is the only place where the date grows twice in the wide without even the introduction of agri-technology. So the problem is that the state governors and local government chairmen are not willing to listen. From the sesame, if we want to do 20 million tons of rice today in a next year, we can do it. If we want to do in the Southwest, I showed them how they can generate $61 billion from cocoa every year. Are you aware that a ton of cocoa is almost selling for $11,000?
Okay.
This old Western Nigeria was built by Obafemi Awolowo with mostly cocoa proceed. I shared with them how they can utilize 20% of the 19 million hectares in the Southwest to develop over $60 to $90 billion revenue annually. So from the East, you can generate about $80 to $100 billion. From the West, similar thing. From the North, double that money. Kimberly, if these governors and local government chairmen are sincere, we are not asking them to bring their fact and their jack. If we put the right structure and framework in place, we can attract all the capital required under what we call the missions, community development, private-public partnership framework to drive this. And here will become paradise. This will also help us to achieve food sufficiency, domestic food sufficiency. It will help us to boost our security and destroy all the agents of darkness attacking Nigeria. It will help us also to have a growing economy. And within the next 5 years, we will surely have $1 trillion economy without breaking sweat.
All right, then. If you're listening, this is Spotlight on Super FM. Our guest, he is an investment banker and development economist, Dr. Namaka Onyeka. I always, escape from the last name because I don't want to offend him on air. But then you can follow the program closely on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Super FM Lagos. And that's our identity on all our social media platforms at Super FM Lagos. Follow the conversation on Facebook. Drop your comment. You can also follow the conversation on our Instagram page. All right, search for us and stay up to date. But now we're going over 2024 in review, and we are evaluating. My analyst on the program, Dr. Nameka, is evaluating Nigeria's economic reforms and policies, talking about the President Tinubu-led administration, and we're going over some highlights, all right, of 2024. So, Dr. Nameka, I remember I asked about the Dangote refinery, and obviously the conversations around, the Port Harcourt refinery. So here is the angle I'm curious about. We expect that when we have a refinery working in the country, owned by one man or not, I'm talking at from the layman's perspective now. We expect that automatically the price of petrol should, even with the operational cost or whatnot, we should get petrol at a reduced cost so that we can enjoy the festive season and even enjoy lower price of goods. But that's not the situation going on. So you want to assess the situation? I mean, what's going on? The Port Harcourt refinery, the Dangote refinery.
Let me explain to you. The Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery, Kaduna refinery will never work as long as it is under the control of the current NNPC. Between 2010 till now, we've sunk in over 11 trillion naira. Remember that the current GMD of NNPC told us clearly in 2018, 2019, that before Buhari hands over in May 2023, that those refineries will be up and running. We approved investments of over $1.5 billion. They have moved the goalposts from 2023 to 2024. Till today, it's not working. You and I know that if the NNPC is actually owned 51% by private sector investors, they will have fired him even before May 29th, 2023. But he's not fired because it's a public sector thing, party. Politics triumph over common sense and goodwill. They are not working. Dangote Refinery is a private owned refinery. No, sometimes I wonder why Dangote is not the only refinery in the whole world. In places like South Korea, do you know that in South Africa, they have refineries that are owned by Total, Chevron, and Shell, and other private sector investors that has refining capacity combined of 540,000 barrels a day. They are producing. They don't own crude oil. From Greece to South Korea, they have massive refineries. They don't own crude oil. What I expect a Dangote to have done, Dangote has oil prospecting licenses that was granted to him. I expected that even before he started building that refinery, he will have had an offtake arrangement with crude producers. Even if there are no crude producers, he will have taken time to develop upstream assets that will enable him have assets, crude stock to provide feedstock for his refineries. All these cat and mouse things he's doing with NNPC wouldn't have been necessary if it had been done. Are you aware that a private refinery known as the Niger Delta Refinery, for the other, a member of the Aradale Group in Port Harcourt, that those are about 10,000 barrels. They're actually increasing to about 6,000 barrels. The Aradale Group is a group that has both upstream assets and downstream assets. They don't go begging anybody for crude oil. They produce their upstream and they hand over to their downstream. And that was what Jonathan would have done when he was president. And I remember then one of the very popular senators sent a proposal to him on how we can actually do this we produce here. We will not grant marginal license to anybody who does not have any refinery here in Nigeria. So the issue of the mistake we made is our cost of production of crude is very, very high because of inefficiency. Can we produce crude oil at $10, $15 per barrel? Yes, we are doing it under Obasanjo. Why did we fail now? It's a question we'll be asking ourselves. So if we want to consume petroleum products at a cost that is not more than 700 naira, no matter what happens in the international market, we know what to do. And I've offered that solution before. The current NNPC refineries will never work because of corruption, because of inefficiencies. So how can we make it work? Get those refineries, Port Harcourt and Warri. Warri is 125,000 barrels a day. Port Harcourt, train 1, train 2 is 210,000 barrels a day. Combined, 335,000 barrels. Put them in a bucket, value them. Just like Obasanjo did in 2007. Sell down 70-80% of the federal government holding to a deep-pocketed, if possible, can even sell it to the Aradale Group. They are already doing refinery, or any of the consultants who are already doing refineries in Nigeria. Edo Refinery, Walter Smith, and Aradale can come together, we'll give it to them. Then NNPC will have only 20%. Allocate marginal fuels. We already have a local content, 445,000 barrels, that was meant for these refineries. If okay, we can hand over marginal fuels to them, so that whatever comes from those marginal fuels will be used to feedstock the new refinery. We can also support them, give them guarantees to co-locate additional 160,000 barrel capacity refinery within Port Harcourt or Warri. Of course, the cost will be half because there is a really existing infrastructure to support the new refinery. Under this arrangement, we can now do what we call cost plus margin arrangement. And what does that mean? As of today, to produce a barrel of crude oil in Nigeria goes between $21 to $31 per barrel. We can now set up what we call the oil bulk purchasing company, just like we have MBET in the power sector, who are going to be the owners of this oil trading bulk trading company. Members of IPMAN, MOMAN, DAPMAN, the organized civil society, so that this product will not be taken out of Nigeria, because we know how many fields we have in Nigeria.
Now you've explained the situation with the Dangote refinery, because we would expect that as opposed to exporting and then importing the refined products again, we have it just at our doorstep. So, I mean, if it was as easy as we think it is, we would expect that, oh, just put the crude, do the, what's it called? And then, I mean, that reduces the operational cost to a large extent. Well, I would like to think that that will even be cheaper when you're getting from your next door neighbor than when you have to export and then import the refined products again. So, but now let's move on from that, because there are other highlights and we're on the clock. So, earlier this year, I think Total Energies invested about $6 billion in Angola's economy as opposed to Nigeria. We've seen a lot of companies leaving the country. Most recently, Holcim, the Swiss building materials giant, sold its 83% stake to Lafarge Africa PLC to China's Hoxton Cement Co. for about $1 billion. And I think Pick n Pay, the South African retailer, left Nigeria, selling its 51% stake And it was said that it had a lot of loss for the first quarter of 2024, about 1.1 billion naira. So now, as it is now, the perception is that Nigeria is not very investment friendly. But now, on the flip side, we've seen the president sign a lot of agreements with France, I think with Brazil. The president was busy for the second half of this year. He made a lot of trips, signing agreements with foreign countries, like I mentioned now. And there were conversations around the fear of debt, that okay, how are we going to pay back? We don't want to, because as it is now, we are told that every Nigerian owes about 600 and something thousand naira. So as much as I have a lot of questions in one, I just want you to assess this, and then I'll ask a follow-up question, Dr. Emeka.
Kimberly, we don't see. Let us all this jamboree, sign agreement, no sign agreement. Ask yourself why did Total leave Nigeria to go to Angola? Why did PZ? Why are the likes of PZ leaving Nigeria? I will explain to you. Is it that Nigeria is not a good market for them? Nigeria is actually the biggest market for them. It's a huge market. But the problem is that the issue of price, forex instability, and insecurity is why they are leaving. And they will continue to leave until we put the right structures in place to keep them here. And when you talk about, foreign investors, do you know, I tell you, Kimberly, our greatest export is not just crude oil. Our biggest export is our diasporas. If we put in place the right structures in place, the right framework in place, the right fiscal responsibility in place, we can attract $50 to $100 billion diaspora capital into Nigeria every year on year, without breaking sweat. We don't need to type it. Why are they living? I will explain to you why they are living. They are living. I give you an example, PZ. PZ, global profit of PZ across the nations where they were doing business was about $100 and something billion. Nigeria is the only place where they made profit after tax of about 30-35%. In other places, it was about 17-20%. But do you know what happened? They got wiped out in Nigeria because of devaluation, forex instability. They got wiped out. And that is the problem. That is why these countries are living. If we do the basic things, we will have an economy that is thriving. We have an economy that is doing well. We have an economy that is attractive to investors. Take, for instance, the issue of insecurity. You've seen the back and forth between Nigeria and the Nigerian president. Is it needed? No. The governor of Zamfara State said something that really shocked me. He said, with the right political will, the bandits can be destroyed. They know where they live. They know where they hide. But you have few marauding terrorists tormenting the whole people because they have superior firepower. And those that have the superior power, the conventional military, are not just doing anything to get them out of the way. They have arms that have been existing for 12 years. Do you know that if we restructure our security infrastructure or an architecture back to what we used to have in the early 60s, hand over security back to the people, to the community, to the state regions, and properly equip them under the supervision of the National Security Advisor, in 6 months, we will wipe out all these things that have made Nigeria very unattractive. I'll give you an example. One of the biggest food producers, Gino Food, came to Nigeria with a prospect of doing over $200 million from the tomato value chain. They went to Kebbi. They even involved farmers to get about 5,000 hectares of upstream farm gate. One night, Kebbi bandits from Kebbi State attacked their operation headquarters. They had to extract their people, their expatriates from that area. Tell me how Gino will have the guts to go. So that the Olam is even divesting. So the truth is, we have a country that has the potentials. Without us, if we can sit back home, our leaders, and fix the structural deformities, go back to resource control, just like we have been having debate on VAT. Let the state, let local government areas, let the regions control 50% of whatever revenues that they have. Tax them 50% for the federal government. You will see everybody looking inward. A state like Niger can do $100 billion annually. A state like Benue can do $100 billion annually in terms of agro export. But the challenge we have is that we are running a criminal Ponzi republic. a quasi-unity system of government
All
that
right.
only panders to begging, to criminality, and everything that is not good for the
Okay.
development of this country.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
until we do the right things, Kimberly,
Uh,
this country will never move forward. Let's not
okay.
stop deceiving ourselves.
All right. So now let's, I want to ask you as much as I have a lot of questions to ask as regards, the economic reforms, but we have just about 5 minutes now. Let's talk about the immediate situation now. There's a situation with, okay. So before I get to that part, I lost my line of thoughts. But now, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso have, it's a decision that is done already. They're leaving ECOWAS, and I think that's set to take place next year. ECOWAS has okayed their exit. I'm bringing this up because how does that impact, how does that regional agreement or the exit of these three countries affect, does it have any role to play when it comes to the economy of Nigeria, regional trade agreement and whatnot?
It has a lot of things to do in terms of insecurity in the northern parts of Nigeria. Before, see, I was sharing with somebody, Kimberly, in 2007, 2008, I used to enter my car 12:30 in the afternoon in Lagos State and drive to any corner of Nigeria alone. No, I'm telling you, I drive alone. I will enter my car 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll start heading to the east or to other parts of Nigeria. There was never no fear of kidnapping, no fear of banditry or anything, because Nigeria was. Have we put out to ask ourselves, how did we degenerate to the current level where people are scared of moving around every part of Nigeria? The northern hemisphere, Chad, Niger, provides us with enough buffer to protect us. But unfortunately, we have refused to, do the right thing to cement that relationship. Why did Niger, why did Chad, why did Mali leave ECOWAS? It's a question we'll be asking ourselves. Whereas ECOWAS is supposed to be an integrated union that will have helped us to boost trade among ourselves, boost security. But we cannot see until we stop pandering to the whims and caprices of the West and allowing them to manipulate us, we will not move forward. And I'm tired of discussing this in Eziokwu.
All right. So now let's talk about what's going on. I think this is not even preferring long-term or 6-month solution. This is now cash scarcity at ATMs. That's the situation right now. And recently, I think the regulatory body that oversees the data hike approval with the telecom, I think anyway, there's this increase in data costs now. And I think the NCCA, I stand corrected, NCAA, has approved that they can go on with the increase of data tariff. And, so from next year, Nigerians are going to have to pay more for data. And then another immediate issue is the situation with the ATMs now, no cash. And as much as the CBN has, dropped out some numbers, that's another highlight. The CBN gave out some numbers to call if you go to banks and you're not getting cash. But, it's still a thing. So I want you to comment on that, just assess both situations, and let's hear your thoughts.
If the digital electronics platforms are working, why do we need cash? If we have deepened financial inclusion to get to the utmost part of Nigeria, and telecommunication facilities are working efficiently across the 176,000 booth areas in Nigeria, why do we need cash? The truth is, we even have so much corruption in Nigeria because of these issues of cash, naira cash, dollar cash. I expect us to see how we can improve our telecommunication, how we can improve our electronic and digital platform and the dispensary in order to make this place more efficient than it is today. Look at South Africa. Look at Kenya. Look at financial inclusion level in Kenya, over 90%. And what is our financial inclusion level here? It's something we should be asking ourselves. We are not being able to manage our economy because we have a lot of funds outside the formal sector. I'll give you an example. If today we want to stop the 60% criminal demand on the dollar, we just need to do one simple thing. Pass a law. Anybody that holds more than $1,000 cash, 1 year imprisonment, that option of fine. If you come in with your dollar paid into a dormant account and transact it electronically, and every transaction leaving and coming to Nigeria must pass through the platform that is recognized and that is accessible and vetable. When we do this, Nigeria work. I'm so shocked that in 21st century, we're still talking about cash economy. No country, even Elon Musk, as rich as Elon Musk is, you can never see $10 million cash with Elon Musk or even in liquidity. Invest it in deep, honest economies. Savings are actually encouraged for investments. Where you see so much cash flow, any economy where you see so much cash flowing around, both local and foreign currency, is a criminal economy, and that economy will never make progress.
Okay. But in this case, we're going to make progress. We're going to keep our fingers crossed and be sure that we're going to make progress. But then, just for clarity, because I wasn't sure, now it is the Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, and we hear that they have moved to approve the long pending proposal for telecom tariff hikes, with new rates for calls, SMS, and internet bundles expected to take effect from January. So, as much as we're celebrating, that's just around the corner. So this marks the end of over a decade of lobbying by telecom giants, who have called for price adjustments to reflect the economic realities. So as opposed to paying 4 naira for text message, likely we'll see it go up soon, and as the data bundles you buy, it'll go up soon. So that's what this means, put simply. But now let's just get your final thoughts on 2024 in review. I was going to ask you about monetary policy, but we're out of time. So now let's just hear your thoughts. I know you've preferred some solutions already, but to wrap it up, what's the way forward? What are your expectations for 2025? What's the outlook?
The outlook is simple. If they refuse to do and execute some of these honest, sincere, creative solutions that we have profiled, I'll keep on profiling. 2025 will be worse than 2024. Period.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Emeka. Thank you. Enjoy your time in Kigali. I don't know. I wanted to say don't come back, but of course you have to come back. That's on a lighter note. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Kimberly.
All right, then. So that's it on Spotlights this morning. We'll be back tomorrow and hopefully have another review of the year 2024. All right, so let's do our parts to make Nigeria great again. We'll keep speaking up and doing the right thing.